Hi, this is Starkie from Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market. Welcome again to another Plus Program training series. Today's topic, male health, and specifically we're going to talk a little bit about hormones today. And when you think of hormones, you got to think of testosterone when it comes to males. Not that females don't have testosterone as well, but males' dominant hormone is testosterone. One thing about testosterone we know, when you're low in it, there's some symptoms, and we'll talk about that happens. So let's look at testosterone. First of all, what is it and what does it do? It's a hormone. Specifically, it's actually made from cholesterol, and the body actually takes it and manipulates it, so to speak, in a couple of different areas. Number one, the adrenal glands to make DHEA, and then DHEA is actually aromatase, so to speak, in the testosterone area of the testes. So anyways, that kind of gives you a real quick brief on maybe how it's manufactured. But let's look at what testosterone does. What it does is actually activate cells. It's necessary for metabolism in the cells, and it actually kind of accentuates actions such as protein synthesis in cells. And so when we think of testosterone, we always have a healthy testosterone ratio. One thing we need to remember is a couple different things. Healthy testosterone means that you're going to have a couple factors going for you. Number one, muscle mass. Muscle mass always seems to be on the increase or on the good maintenance program when there's adequate amounts of testosterone. The other thing is good bones. Bone tissue growth in males specifically is related to the amount of testosterone in the body. Energy production overall from head to toe is definitely related to testosterone. Mental alertness as well, just to name a couple of them. So what happens when there's a low testosterone? Well, just the opposite. Lack of energy, maybe a little bit of depression sometimes. Maybe there's some muscle integrity issues, and there's also maybe some bone health issues. And finally, there's oftentimes libido issues as well, too. So we look at a kind of a three-phase program to maybe keeping a healthy testosterone balance in the body. Number one, when you look at testosterone and the way it works, there's a couple of things you got to remember. Body fat knocks down testosterone, all right? So we're going to look a little bit at that a little bit closer in a minute. Number two, you got to lift something heavy. I had a guy come in the store years ago and he said, I've gone to my Chinese acupuncturist and the acupuncturist told me to increase my testosterone. And his acupuncturist said, the number one thing you want to do is pick up heavy things 2 or 3 times a week. Well, the guy came in, bought some weights so he could pick up something heavy. All right. And then finally, there's some nutrients and some foods that we can look at that actually maybe have some benefits for testosterone as well, too. So let's break this down one at a time. The first thing we're going to look at is this. We're going to look at body fat. So one of the things that is very critical with body fat is the fat that accumulates around the abdominal area. We call this kind of like maybe just abdominal fat. This actually really seems to decrease the body's production of testosterone, actually accentuate the production of estrogen, which kind of is the bad hormone that we don't want to have too much in our body. So one thing that I always try to stress is this. If your waist-hip ratio is in check, you're going to have some nice, healthy hormone balances in the body. So what does it mean, waist-hip ratio? You take the tape measure, you put it around your waist, and when you do it, you want to tighten up your waist, man. Make it as tight as you can get it, almost kind of suck it in a little bit, put it around. Believe it or not, that's how the anatomical way is designed to do it. So you want to tighten up the waist, pull it around it, take the waist measurement, and let's say it's 32, and then relax, let that old abdominal mass back out. Then take the tape and put it around your hips, right around the biggest portion of your butt, so to speak. And let's say that's 40, and you divide the 32 by 40, and that would be under the critical zone of what we call 0.9. So if it's 0.9 or below, that means that you've got a healthy ratio of abdominal fat that's in the body. If it's a little bit higher than that, it's definitely time to pay attention to the diet and exercise plan. So this isn't a subject that we're going to go into now, but it just gives you a little alertness. So when I do seminars, it's one of the first things I like to do is have a tape measure that's out. So it kind of alerts you to that fact. All right, second on the list, you definitely want to pick up something heavy. Why in the world is this? Well, back in the early 1990s, there was all these theories that if you lifted squats or deadlifts and all these different things, what it did is actually increase testosterone production in the body. And that had been going around the block since the 1950s. Well, no one actually went to the extent to figure this out. So finally, in the 1990s, a bunch of universities studies came out, and they actually took some blood samples, literally stick some needles in the vein, follow them around the gym, and when they did certain types of exercise, it actually increased testosterone production. And they were what we call typically multi-joint, multi-hip movements, squats, cleans, deadlifts, all those things produce more testosterone in the body. All right. So any type of workout program that you're doing, and I recommend that you do what we call almost kind of like either a CrossFit, which seems to be very popular now, or the other thing that you do is circuit training, which has been popular since like the 1940s when it comes to weight training. What it does not only get you using heavier things, the other thing is it really crunches the time factor down. That not only increases testosterone, but also gets other hormones produced like growth hormone and other different hormones that kind of help to make you feel younger and look younger as well too. So finally, there's some food factors and there's some supplement things that we can look at. And this isn't really a supplement section designed for testosterone, but it's maybe some information more on food. So let's look at a couple foods. One of my favorite one is olive oil. We know that olive oil has all sorts of benefits for heart and also for Alzheimer's prevention, but we also find out that olive oil actually helps with the production of testosterone. So that doesn't mean that you're going to eat a quart a day. It means that you use like 2 or 3 tablespoons a day. Believe it or not, peanut oil also has some benefits as well too. And so then finally, there's some other nutrients. So let's look at zinc and selenium. And zinc is necessary for the production and also the prevention of bad testosterone. And then also when we look at it, there's also a couple other nutrients that we look at that are a benefit for testosterone production too. And that is, let's look at food. Any type of high sugar item food really decreases testosterone. So stay away from the sugars. So that'll give you a little bit of an approach real quick that you can actually round around a couple things and just have some nuggets to take out and be able to work with. So this will end this particular session. The next session will be on male health as well too, but we're going to talk about the prostate. So you might want to stay tuned for that. This is Starkie Sowers from Clark's Nutrition and Natural Foods Market, reminding you to live better. We can help.